Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl KDOT back in Ripple Effect. You already know what it is and you already know the vibes. Shout out to all the supporters. I appreciate everything. Y'all already know day one. Appreciate it. New subscribers. Y'all gonna find out, right? That's why I called this episode Mess Around, and you already know what. So let's get right into it. These playoffs are crazy. Maybe they are what you expected. Maybe you knew the Clippers and the Suns would be going back and forth because you know Kevin Durant wasn't just gonna let that slide. You already know. But Kawhi's out tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I should have told y'all. That's why I'm going to tell you right at the top, in case you're ready, you're excited to stay up for this game. Kawhi Leonard will be out. So that will be interesting because, as you know, the Suns just tied it up. So now they're going into a Game 3 situation. Now we got to figure out, where the cards may land. But don't get it twisted. Let's just get this out the way. Lou, as a coach, man, so underrated. So underrated. I don't think he's given nowhere near as much credit for his coaching and what he's done. So I know they're without Paul George. You already know they told you a while ago that he was not going to be playing in that series, so you expected that. But now that Kawhi Leonard's out, and I believe it's like a sprained knee. But don't forget about Norman Powell. Don't forget about Terrence Mann. Don't forget about guys that have no problem stepping up. Gordon, these guys will get it done. Collectively, they're a team. Morris, they're gonna get it done. It's probably gonna be one of those games where they're gonna gut it out because Booker, what he's gonna be putting up. You already know what Kevin Durant's gonna do. Aiden's one of those X factors. If he just plays his position, and I don't know. A lot of people are saying that Monty Williams was getting out coached, but you know how it is. Listen. This is the playoffs. This is NBA basketball at its finest. This is a game of adjustments. Let the coaches go back to the drawing board. There's plenty of other teams that got to do that, especially in the Game 3 situation. This is the first round, so you're going to see some blowouts. You're going to see some crazy wins, because you have higher seed teams, with lower seeded teams. And for whatever reason, just because, when they got your number, they got your number. And it's up to you to make those necessary adjustments, right? To come back to the drawing board and say, okay, what do we have to do? What exactly did we not do last game that we got to do this game? And sometimes it's just staying true to your game. Maybe there's only slight things that you need to do in terms of energy. And we can definitely talk about that with the Lakers-Grizzlies game, because I know a lot of people were sitting there saying, how in the world, did the Lakers not win that game with LeBron putting up 28 points? A lot of people say Anthony Davis didn't show up. He definitely looks banged up out there, not getting back, not hustling. There's a lot of different things going on. But Anthony Davis, he gets a lot of heat for not being available, so I'm sure he's trying to gut it out as much as possible. And you already know the Memphis Grizzlies team, look, they're young. They're young, they're hungry. They know what it's like to lose in those big games, and they're not trying to be a first round exit. I know they don't have John Morant playing, they don't have Clark playing, they don't have Steve Adams playing. That's a huge part of their team. But here's the thing, they're well coached. They have a culture that everybody seems to buy in. Their chemistry is unbelievable. Jaren Jackson, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, and he's been contributing big. A lot of people don't really talk about him, but now he's being noticed, right? Defensive Player of the Year, he's already solidified that. He's got that under his belt. Desmond Bane, there's a lot of these guys that are just standing out right now, and they just play so well together. And it's remarkable to watch. And you can say what you want about Dylan Brooks, and I've already gave you my opinion on him. You need that. It's just added intrigue to the game. That's all it is. It's competition at its highest, at its finest. So you're going to see different things like this. If you remember, a few years ago, and I mean a few years ago, with Lance Stevenson and his antics against LeBron James. But But then LeBron's probably going to come back and give you 40. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, you know, with Dylan, what he said after the game and how he poked the bear, right? And a lot of talking. He said he wanted the Lakers, right? So he got him, and now he's the one that's taking it upon himself. He's guarding LeBron. He's talking about he's old. He's not going to respect him unless he scores 40, right? So now LeBron is probably going to give you 40, you know? But LeBron is smart, though. He's very cerebral. He's not going to buy in too much to this in terms of, I'm going to get out of my team, you know, strategy just to, you know, feed my ego. Because, I mean, you're talking about a guy who scored, what, the most playoff points? You know, I mean, so it's kind of like, Dylan, like, I know you're trying to make a name for yourself, little homie, but calm down. Like, let's be real. In the grand scheme of things, let's be real, right? But this does mean something, because at the end of the day, the Lakers should not be losing to a team that does not have their star players. It should not happen. You know, you may have a bad game, you may have an off night, but then it's up to them to make those necessary adjustments. And I think it's great what Dylan Brooks is doing. It's funny, and at the same time, you know what? If LeBron comes back and gives you 40, then, I mean, I don't think it's going to stop him from talking, to be honest with you, because that's kind of like what he does. He's already made that name for himself as being the villain and being that guy who just wants to talk, and maybe that's how he gets himself motivated. That's how he gets himself in the game, because he did have himself a game. Even though he was talking, he was gazing in LeBron's face after a dunk, after the three-point shot, you know, he was feeling himself. So that's how maybe that's how he gets in his zone. So maybe he's one of those guys, if he's quiet, he may have an off night. So, but that just further adds to the intrigue, right? Because now you're going to want to watch it. Maybe if you wasn't going to before, you wasn't sure if you were going to stay up or whatever the case was, now you're going to make sure you're going to watch it, because Dylan Brooks has added that much intrigue to it. And as a fan of the game, that's all you want. You kind of want that. You know, you want either new fans or returning fans, or, you know, I mean, me and my father actually used to talk about this, about how back in the 90s, people used to run home for playoff games. Like, it wasn't a game. You wanted to make sure you were home comfortable, not even just when the game started. You wanted to make sure comfortable, you were home, you had your eats, you know, you were chilling, you were relaxing, everything that you needed to do, you wanted to get that out of the way so that way you can watch the game comfortably. And it's funny because you don't really have that anymore. I don't really see people kind of like running home, you know, they kind of just, I mean, but then again, you know, there was no smartphones, you know, right? You didn't have access to, Twitter and Facebook, where people like me could probably update you every now and again, you know, posting things and keeping track of the score. But still, like, you know, it was just that intrigue, that I gotta be home, like in my zone, in my comfort, you know, sitting there watching the game and stuff like that. So it's interesting, but hopefully that did add, you know, like I said, further excitement towards the game, because that's just what it's all about, you know. And just like the Knicks game, we can talk about that and their body language and how, you know, Garland went off that game. He definitely had the support of Donovan Mitchell and his teammates to make sure that he was getting the ball and being very aggressive. He also had the support of his coach. You know, you got to give it to Bickerstaff. You know, you got to give props where props is due. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was tight. It wasn't one part of that night where I wasn't tight. Like, I was upset because I felt like RJ Barrett wasn't ready, and I know Stephen A. Smith and everybody else said he's just benched for this series and this and that, and I get it. Tibbs was still feeling it out, and sometimes it takes time for you to be able to see what really works and what doesn't. And I think Tibbs was keeping him out there long enough to make sure that there's no doubt in his mind, or fans, anybody, front office, anybody else, that he don't need to be playing right now. You know, and I don't mean that as like a knock towards him or necessarily like he don't need to be playing at all, but I mean those big minute games, no. Like, it's time to go back to the drawing board. It's time to see where those matchups, where they got us at, and where we need to fix things up. But first of all, let's start back on the defensive end. Like, let's start there, and we can also attribute that to the Lakers series. Like, you can't be out-hustled. You cannot be out-hustled. No. That's unacceptable. You have to be able to come out, you know, and match their intensity. That should be like a given in the playoffs. And also with that Lakers situation, it's like, they definitely came in that game saying, you know, okay, we're the Lakers, so we're going to win because you're not playing with your top guys, and that should just be a given. And you slept on them, and at the end of the day, that's why y'all got beat. You know, you can't come in there like that. Like, no. You have to match their energy at least. You got to play defense. I couldn't tell you how many times I counted all these missed coverages, people not communicating on defense, going back to the Knicks game, you know, with Garland. And yeah, Garland, yeah, he had himself a night. And I even saw someone mention on my feed, you know, on Facebook saying, like, Garland wasn't the problem. You can't say he wasn't the problem. Dude had like 25 in the first half. He most certainly was a problem. And the bigger problem was we wasn't making those adjustments. We were just letting them do it. And it's terrible when you're missing shots, right? Because when you're out there, it's like you're missing shots and you feel like nothing's going in and it's like the end of the world. But here's the thing. You got to snap out of that. And I'm speaking directly to the New York Knicks. Like, y'all got to snap out of that. You get a turnover, whatever. It's already done. Get back on defense. Do what you got to do. Make sure you get that ball back. And how about securing a rebound or two? Like, we got to get back to the basics. How about Emmanuel Quigley? You've been, averaging 20 plus? You know what I mean? Like, these last couple of games, showing us that you have ascended your game to another level. You know, me giving you mad praise, telling you how close you resemble Maxey in your game, and seeing how he started from the bench and now he's a starter and he's actually a reliable piece in Philly's offense. You know, I'm giving him that type of, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like, the pressure is crazy. It's like I get it, but I don't get it because that's crazy. Like, I'm not even going to, like, you know, go there because you guys are under tremendous pressure. I mean, they started out with tremendous pressure because what did they say? New York Cavs series to watch. Best series in the first round, right? I mean, right now after that second game, it wasn't necessarily living up to that, you know, because I'm sure a lot of people tuned out after the blowout. Like, most people don't like watching stuff like that. You want to see a nice competitive game throughout, you know, but we got to shake off those nerves. Like, Tibbs is, you know, Coach Thibodeau got to let y'all know, like, listen, we're here. We made it. You know, we were well above 500. We did what we needed to do to be here. This is not some, like, playing where we got in, where we just snuck in and maybe we shouldn't have got in, or, no. We're the New York Knicks. Yeah, we've had a sus history for a couple of decades. Yeah, we get it. We get it. It's been a long time since we've won a championship. It's never happened in my lifetime. It's only happened, you know, like in my father's lifetime, like twice. You know, but the last time it's happened to him was like in junior high. So when you think about that, it's depressing. I get it. It's definitely depressing. It's ridiculous. And your fans and everybody else deserves more. We get all that. But the season that the New York Knicks had proved that we are way better. And we can leave the past in the past, and the future just looks so bright, regardless of how the offseason trades turned out, whether you liked it or not. We've had an amazing season, and we had the type of season that nobody was predicting. Nobody. I thought we was going to have an okay season, but I didn't think this. So the fact that we're here, we deserve to be here, we've earned to be here. Quit with those nerves. Cavs didn't, you know, we're kind of evenly matched in that sense. You know, a couple of trades made a difference. Right? So they weren't always that great. You know, I mean, it's been a minute since LeBron and Kyrie and all these guys have been there. Like, yeah, you have a lot of guys on the Cavs that are definitely trying to revamp or trying to start something there, because a lot of those guys were from Brooklyn, if you remember. You know, with Karis LeVert, Jared Allen. These guys got something to prove. And if you remember, before LeVert got hurt when he was with the Brooklyn Nets, like, he was killing it out there. Same thing with Jared Allen. On the verge of being one of those defensive players of the year. He's that type of dude. And y'all added Donovan Mitchell and y'all have Garland. Like, you guys are dangerous. for sure. You got to respect your opponent. Like, you have to know what they have to offer. You know, you guys have a coach too that he just knows how to coach, and you can tell. I can see the way he is during the games, getting in it. You know, making sure guys know where they need to be, making sure the refs know where he stands on certain issues and what they missed and what they need to pay more attention to, making sure that his guys get a fair shot. You know, but the Knicks need to understand, like, listen, this is not going to be the type of series that's going to be a sweep. I told y'all that from jump. I told y'all this was going to be a long, you know, a battle. You know, it's going to be a 7-game series. I said that from jump. Some people were ready to say 6 games, 5 games, depending on, you know, if you just watched the first game. But no, I knew this was going to be a game of adjustments. I know there's 2 really good coaches. Some people want to argue that maybe the star players, too many minutes, you know, different. I mean, I get it. Everybody has like their own thing, you know. They're coming from a different perspective. They're coming from, you know, because if you remember him with the Bulls and with Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose and, you know, and these guys and how hard he plays his guys. Like, he does not play in practice, and he does not play even during the game. When these guys were down 21, we knew the game was over for a while. We knew. Randall was still in, Brunson was still in, but you know, Brunson's not going to have that game. We get it. The Cavs are trying to double him. They're trying to get the ball out of his hands. Like, there's not much to it. We get what they're trying to do, but I think our guys just need to settle down. I really think it was all nerves for the most part, and just not getting back on defense and not getting back. Like, I mean, the rebound. You got to rebound. That's huge. That's extra possessions, you know, for your team. Less points for the other. Like, you have to break it down into that sense in order to really get how important rebounding is, and that really goes out for the youngsters out there who really trying to get to know the game of basketball and understand, like, rebounding is so important. If you see a guy out there that's not necessarily scoring and he's there for defensive purposes and he's there for rebounding purposes, like, don't ever try to shortchange what this man, like what they do. It's not easy. And it's very thankless. You know, it's one of those things that people really don't pay attention to, but it's huge. Because if you look in their plus or minus category, you'll be able to see their impact in the game a lot more and really understand just how important their position is, even though they're not putting up 40. Right? But we have to get other guys involved. Grimes didn't have a very good game, but I think Obi Toppin needs a few more minutes. You know, you can tell. I think he just needs to settle down, settle in. Nerves with him too. Like, honestly, like, if we're really trying to get down to it and try to really feel like what happened. But that's it, guys. Like, we can't sit here and act like nerves don't matter. Like, they do. We have to hit our free throws. We have to force the issue. We have to get to the line more. Brunson needs to continue to be aggressive. If they're doubling you, you have to try to, like, this is why the beauty of LeBron, like, people kind of don't really get that, right? LeBron is, like, out there playing chess. For the most part, he already knows where the double team is coming, and he already knows who he's giving to when that double team comes. Like, guys, and that's where film comes into play. I know it's experience and things of that nature, because 20 years, there's only so much, you know what I mean, new that you can throw at him. Like, he's pretty much he's seen a lot, you know, in 20 years. But at the same time, you have to understand this in a 7-game series or just any playoff series, you know. You have to understand these adjustments. You have to understand by watching the film, where was the double team coming from? Who are they leaving open, you know? And then that's for the coach to try to figure out, who do I want in to make sure that they can knock down those shots, because Knicks haven't been knocking down shots either. And that's another story. Right? Because if they're not knocking down shots, which when you have RJ Barrett in, you're going to make yourself very vulnerable, because Cleveland likes to play fast. And when they play fast and they get in the open court and you got Garland and you got Donovan Mitchell there, I mean, it's just going to be back and forth all night, because now they're going to be deciding, okay, and then Karis LeVert is already joined the party. So, and then you got Jared Allen protecting the rim and rebounding, or there for easy putbacks, offensive rebounds. You know, I can go on and on about the different ways you can look at this in order for the Knicks to have a shot. But Knicks still have a shot. Nobody should be overreacting unless you're just one of those people who just overreacted before the series started, and now you just have like that mechanism in you to just overreact after seeing game two. It's gonna be a long series. Like I said, just sit tight. It's gonna be a bumpy road. Not every game is gonna be pretty. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to get it through the mud sometimes. Sometimes it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be scrappy. And you already seen that hard foul on on Julius Randle, and you already know Julius Randle feels some type of way. I just hope he can like sort of harness that anger, because I'm sure that that's what he has, and fuel that in more of a positive way, because I know that he has that type of issue sometimes, and you know, take things a little too far, you know, maybe not Draymond far, you know, but he takes it kind of far. Oh yeah, speaking of Draymond, right, I mean, I definitely feel like this is definitely one of those situations where it's a mess around and find out. You know, with Sabonis, it was. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a dirty play, and then the play just got dirtier from another player, from a habitual dirty player move. You know, like that's Draymond. You know, most people wouldn't go there with Draymond because you can't underestimate, you know, how far he's willing to go. You know, you may take it one way and he's going to take it a step or two further. And that's pretty much what happened. And I think even the NBA and Joe Dumars did a really good job in figuring that out. And I know it seems like it's harsh because they already took him out of the game, and pretty much that was the game. When they took him out, it pretty much already decided game two, right? In that matter. And that's if you're one of those people who were thinking that they weren't already going to lose. That's if you're saying that they still had a chance for game two to still win it with Draymond still in it. You know, but I'm not going to take anything from the Warriors. These are the defending champions. This is going to be hard without Draymond. Of course it is. It's going to be more of a fight. If anything, it's going to be more of an intrigue for game three, like we talked about. People are going to watch it. They're going to stay up. People are going to get their naps in if that's what needs to be in order to stay up and watch these games. Because honestly, staying up past, you know, a certain time, it's very difficult, especially if you got to wake up at 5, you know. But yeah, I mean, just to break it down, just to really get to it, just so you guys know, listen, I know a lot of people were blaming, you know, Adam Silver for the decision, for the suspension, because now he's not going to be there for game 3. But Joe Dumars, he was actually the one who actually came up with that decision. And yes, Adam Silver does have the say-so to whether to say, yeah, that's cool, or no, that's not cool. But obviously he gave the thumbs up and he said, yeah, Joe Dumars, that's cool. Like, a 1-game suspension, because he has repeatedly have done things like this. And if he doesn't mind doing it and knowing the consequences of, you know, putting his team and getting bounced out of the first round, that's his business, you know. And that's what we're going to go off of, because it was very excessive, and there's a lot of things going on, you know. Even if, you know, leagues talk to each other, guys. Like, let's not act like, I mean, you may consider it as a reach about what I'm about to say, but honestly, you have to understand that leagues talk to each other. Injuries are a big part of the league. They're a big part of sports, period, right? And we literally just, just 1 day away from, you know, DeMar Hamlin saying that he is fully, you know, medically cleared to go back to playing football. You know, and this man went into cardiac arrest on national television for the world to see, and even knowing all that and everything that he has been through and will continue to go through, you know, in his journey and getting fully back and ready to go, it's had such an impact on the world, everybody, because everybody, if you didn't watch it, you've definitely heard about it, you know. If you've been watching me, you know I've, you know, had a whole episode about it. You should check it out. You know, it's bringing light to a lot of things that a lot of people didn't realize before, but I'm sure probably have more of appreciation now for athletes and the different things that they do, because at the end of the day, yeah, they definitely do put their bodies, you know, on the line to entertain us. Like, that's really what it is. And the fact that, you know, Draymond just stomped on a guy's chest, whether you want to believe that he had nowhere else to put his foot, or you believe that, you know, it wasn't that hard that he stepped on his foot, or you didn't think it was that excessive, or you felt like maybe, you know, well, Sabonis did grab his leg, or maybe you even felt like, no, he was just trying to protect his face. it doesn't really matter like where you kind of land on that. The fact of the matter is, he did step on a guy's chest. You know, you can't tell me like that wasn't some sort of, you know, reminder that good thing it was just a contusion. You know, I believe they were calling it a sternum contusion. Like, right? Like, thank God. Like, that could have been really, really, really bad. You know, so the league is not only just looking at that, but they're also looking at, you know, a repeat offender, you know, someone who just keeps, you know, crossing that line, and it is up to the league at this point to say, okay, we've drawn a line in the sand and that's it. But I also think it had a lot to do, because, you know, Joe Dumars, they did an interview earlier and I watched it, and honestly, there's only so much they're going to tell you. Like, they're not going to give you a whole breakdown of what went on in the meeting, because if that was the case, they would have had it live, right? And they would have told you exactly what was said, and or you could just see it for yourself and just make that decision right there on live TV. But no, they're not going to do that. It's not the way they do business, and they came to that decision however they decided to come to it. And then they, you know, had a very detailed and scripted, you know, way of explaining to everybody what they were planning on, or what their final judgment was, and it was very, very PR, you know, heavy, but that's cool. But honestly, I think it had also had to do with because Sabonis was going to be questionable for Game 3, and I think that played a large part in it, because I think that they would probably saying to themselves like, wow, so they're going to miss out, you know, on Sabonis and the Kings, right? So to kind of even it out, since Draymond would be the reason why he'd be missing this game, it's only right that Draymond misses this game too, right? But here's the other side. What if Sabonis actually plays, right? So that's the other thing. If he actually plays, then it's like, well, I guess we were just erring on the side of caution. And at the end of the day, I think it really didn't matter who it was that did it. And it wasn't necessarily, I know Draymond probably just believes that everybody's ganging up on him. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I just think the things that he's done in the past have been so off the wall. And don't get me wrong, I like Draymond. Like, I really do. I understand him. I think he's honest. I think, you know, probably too honest at times, but he is who he is. He is who he is, and I can never, I guess, like, hold that against somebody who's willing to be vulnerable enough to show you exactly who they are. Yeah, I mean, he's done, you know, with the whole punching Jordan Poole and training camp. Yeah, he's. But I'm also one of those people that's not going to just hold something to somebody and then not understand, like, the context to it. You know, I like to understand, like, there's a cause and effect. Like, I want to know what Jordan Poole said if I'm really going to, like, go off on Draymond. Like, I can sit there and say that, yeah, what he did was wrong, because, you know, violence is not the answer. Yeah, that kids. You know, but I need to hear what was said in order to really just kind of go in like a lot of people have gone in about Draymond, about the situation. Because I don't know, because I've seen people go off for less too, you know, so I like to know that whole situation. And I know some people that are blaming the league, you know, for suspending them because they're letting pretty much the refs, you know, and the higher ups decide this game, because some people are saying that they're favoring the Kings to the point where, you know, they're just completely tired of the Warriors just making it, I guess, to the finals or even past. You know, I get it. Like, they don't want it. And the fact that the Kings, they haven't been in the playoffs in like 16 years, something like that. So the city of Sacramento is lit up. They're lighting that beam. They're having fun. You know, they have the coach of the year, Mike Brown, rightfully so. Good for you, Mike Brown. You know, a disciple of the Greg Popovich tree. You know, that's, man. You gotta love it. De'Aaron Fox, like, I mean, what more can you say about this guy? Clutch of the year. I mean, that's a given. Guy is doing his thing. Like, you gotta love that team. You just have to. They're just that talented, that good. And shout out to Mike Brown for creating a culture that all these young guys, even the veteran, you know, Barnes, and he used to be on the Golden State Warriors, and he looked like he got a little something to give to the Warriors. Like, yeah, like, we got your number. Like, you know, you wouldn't want to, you know, give me my money. You want to trade me? All right, cool. Like, you know. But at the same time, it's like, that decision did not come lightly. And I'm going to tell you this. just in case if you don't know, if you didn't get a chance to watch. And, you know, I watch a little bit of everything so that way I can tell you and then come back with my opinion. So Draymond Green and Joe Dumars are like this. Like this. They're tight. Draymond once referred to him as like a father figure to him. Yeah. Like that's, yeah, it's deep, right? So this is not some like, you know, this wasn't a light decision. This was heavy. You know what I mean? Like this is heavy. And then it gets deeper, right? Because Joe Dumars used to work for the Sacramento Kings organization. Yeah, in the front office. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? He has 2 connections on either side. So for him to be really caught in the middle, and to be fair, Joe Dumars, like if you remember him with the Pistons back in the day, like, I'm sorry, Pistons, bugging. Bugging. Detroit Pistons, yes. So anyway, I remember him from back then. So they always say, listen, the NBA circle, very small circle. So the longer you've been in there, you're pretty much going to have a relationship with just about everybody. So you're going to remember them. So, but the point is, you know, Joe Dumars is at the top of the food chain. You know, he's right there, you know, with Adam Silver. So the fact that he has those connections to those two, you know, very intimately, to the point where Draymond on a more personal level, right? Sacramento, you know, a more professional level, but still that connection was there. He was with them for a minute. You know, that was not an easy decision for him to make. You know, I mean, God, like I would not want to be, you know, I wouldn't want to have to make that decision, but ultimately, but it just goes to show you that I'm sure he did what he felt was right. It wasn't, you know, because of his relationship with Draymond, or it wasn't because of their relationship with Sacramento. Maybe he wanted them, you know, to win. It had nothing to do with that. It all had to do with Draymond. You were out of control. You know, in that moment, you were out of control. And he also mentioned that it wasn't just the act, right? Because what did Draymond do after that? If y'all were up watching it, or if you saw some highlights on my Instagram or my Facebook, he was egging the crowd on. You know they were pissed. You know when you saw Sabonis roll over and kind of just clutching his ribs and his sternum, like, oh man, like, you know, in so much pain. And you got Draymond just like, yeah, like hyping it up, getting involved, and, you know, getting and talking back with the crowd, and guys are, you know, cursing and going crazy, you know, and Draymond's just soaking it all in, you know, just, you know what I mean? So it's like, the league probably had no choice. They were just like, we gotta stop it here. Like there was just so much going on, and then you also have the E40 incident, you know, that night. There was a lot going on that night. So I think they had to somehow calm it down. Like we're glad you guys are into it. I know a lot of people on the other side of that were kind of saying, oh, Sabonis has been being, you know, not necessarily, well, kind of, you know, dirty, depending on how you look at it. Because some people were saying, no, what he did was more basketball plays. You know, he go for the rebound, but, you know, he's kind of like throwing elbows out there, you know. And then you have other big men, even Kevon Looney, he said, listen, this is what big men do. They kind of just, you know, they're grabbing, shoving, pushing, you know, knocking guys out the way. And he said sometimes the refs call it, sometimes they don't. You know, so JJ Redick, he's kind of right when he said the refs are being really inconsistent in that particular series. And I'm inclined to believe him, you know, when it comes to stuff like that. When I'm looking at the game and I'm just saying to myself, like, wow, like, I get it. What was a foul in, you know, October through April is no longer a foul, you know, from, you know, the end of April till June. Like, I get it, but then there has to be some guidelines, because then guys are kind of just, you know, they're not really knowing where they're standing. And how do you equate fairness into it? I know life's not fair. Somebody's about to say that. We haven't heard that enough, right? But you get what I'm saying. You want to see some kind of consistency on both ends. At the end of the day, you don't want to see refs decide the games. It's the players. They're the ones working. They're the ones out there. They should be deciding their fate. It should be no one else. But all in all, yeah, Draymond being suspended just to calm things down and just to kind of right the ship, and just because he's a repeat offender and egging on the crowd of, you know, kind of like, yeah, I did that. Probably not the best idea. And then kind of admitting in the post game, saying that, well, Malik Monk grabbed my leg under the baseline, you know, in game 1, and y'all didn't call it. So you're literally already telling everybody, like, okay, guys are grabbing my leg. Y'all not gonna do nothing about it, but I'm gonna do something about it. So there you go. So then you got, I'm not gonna act like this is like a criminal court, because it definitely isn't. But you know, that was a little premeditated though. So you got premeditated, you did it, right? And then you're laughing about it, you know, and poking fun at it. I mean, like I said, no matter what side you sit on it, it's kind of like, you gotta be able to understand the logic behind that. Like, you know, but whatever. But I know a lot of people are not really into the other series. I've noticed, because I've been kind of going back and forth with it with other people, and you know, what Philly's been doing, that's just been looking like a cakewalk, right? We also want to talk about the Celtics. That's definitely another cakewalk, right? But I'm still gonna watch it. You still got to see what's going on. Game 3 is going on, so I'm excited. I can't wait to watch. Listen. Right now, things are kind of wide open, and even the Bucks series, like, no Giannis, but the Bucks are doing their thing. The Bucks are still doing their thing regardless. Like, that team is just together. Drew Holiday. But one guy I really got to focus on, guys, De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox, guys. This guy is becoming a star right before our eyes. And I hope you guys are appreciating it. I hope we're not getting too caught up in the antics of either Draymond, or just thinking about the fact that the refs, you know, are being a bit inconsistent, or thinking about the Warriors and their downfall. Because at the end of the day, you wanna have an appreciation. You wanna understand what's going on, but you do want to understand the beauty of what Mike Brown has created and how these guys have executed beautifully. And that's not to say that the series is over, because I don't want nobody exaggerating. I feel like this series is going to be longer than I anticipated it. Also, I'll admit that. But I still think the Warriors will come out, because Draymond will be back for Game 4. Are the Warriors in trouble? I think they've been in trouble. If you look at the way the style that Kings are playing, and the fact that the Warriors haven't made any adjustments yet, I mean, that's on Steve Kerr as well. You have to make those necessary adjustments to these guys to see exactly what's going on. Gary Payton II is going to need more minutes. I believe I mentioned that last time. He's one of those guys that is great on defense, and the fact that you don't have Draymond Green, you're going to need all the help you can get on defense. Guys are going to have to put more pressure on themselves. Andrew Wiggins has been playing phenomenally. I don't have anything bad to say about him whatsoever. But like I said, I keep getting back over to the Warriors, because it's surprising, right? It's crazy. But the beauty of what De'Aaron Fox has been doing, I mean, he's just been controlling the tempo. It just seems like he's just scoring all over the place, and there's just nothing that they can do about it. There's just nothing they can do about it. And Mike Brown, you see him on the sidelines, just push it, just keep forcing it. They're not going to be able to stop you, because they're going super quick. And you can't say enough about Harrison Barnes too, right? Because I definitely think he's definitely on a mission to get his get back, you know, at the Warriors. And remember, he won a ring with them, and it's always nice to win against your old team, especially if you are one of the reasons to knock them out of the first round. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. But at the end of the day, I mean, hopefully, I hope this is something that Draymond can learn from, because I don't want the Kings to win like this. Let's say the Kings do win. It's always going to be that little asterisk next to this win, you know, of what if Draymond was playing, or the Kings only won because Draymond was out, and that was like a deciding game. You know, you don't want it to be like that. So I'm really hoping it's a hard-fought game. I wanted to go to 7 for sure. I know everybody wants to go every series to go to 7, but not necessarily. Like this season, this series in particularly, because the Kings did take care of home court advantage, and the intrigue of Draymond being out, it would be nice to see how the Warriors do bounce back, or what the Kings do to really put this thing away, because they know if they get game 3, then they really got them on the ropes. But I still wouldn't count the Warriors out. You can't count out a team that is so experienced. You just, I mean, I'm sure people will, and that's cool because it provides more content and more debates, more things to talk about. But you can't count them out, though. You just can't count them out. They have too many weapons that can literally explode at any given moment. They just have to match the Kings' intensity. They have a whole city behind them. They have a burning desire to light that beam every chance they get. So they just got to make sure they don't light it tonight. They have to make sure. And y'all already know. I only ask y'all to do one thing. Just remember this. Losses equals life lessons. Peace.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay on your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.